There we are. Hello, Dania. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
We're
How are you?
very well. We're 4 minutes late, everyone. It's okay. Technical difficulties, but these things happen. So, Dania, it's an absolute privilege to have you here this morning. I know you're getting ready to go on a race, so you're training and all kinds of stuff must be happening with you. So, thank you wholeheartedly. I wanted to make sure the community gets to know you, a little bit about you. So, we'll make it quick and fast, 10, 15 minutes, as we get to understand a little bit about how you spend your day and what you're doing. So let's get started. Are you ready?
I'm ready and thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh my gosh. So why don't we start on this first question? Since technically I know you're training, I think you're heading off to Portugal. Is that right? On Monday?
Yes, I do. I have a race in Portugal. It's part of the Baja World Cup. So hopefully it'll be good.
Wow. That's like so what does your typical day look like when you're getting ready to race?
Um, on race day, it's quite organized down to the minute. So we get the race schedule and what time the first car starts, and then all the cars that are numbered, they have their start time. So we just have a good breakfast and yeah, go to the service park, which is where they keep all the cars, and get in the car maybe let's say roughly 10 minutes before our start time. Get into the line and take off. Really.
And is there any specific schedule or preparation you do before, like the week before heading into a race, or you're pretty much training all the time? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, I'm pretty much training all the time. I like to stay at my optimum level whenever I can. So I have strength training twice a week, yoga 3 times a week, and cardio throughout the week. And then I try to do different sports for cardio just to keep it fun. So like swimming or horseback riding or some kind of sport, indoor rowing, cycling, things like that. So just to have a variety. But usually, yeah, every day there's an activity. And living here in Saudi Arabia, it's a great environment for that. But we don't really walk from place to place. The mode of transport is mainly by car, so I need to make an effort for sure to have that extra movement. Otherwise, it's quite stationary most of the time.
So, in choosing you, Dania, and thank you. I got exhausted hearing about all that exercise.
Well, we don't move otherwise, because like I said, we're in the car. So if I mean, it's only 1 hour or 2 hours a day. That's it, really. So you need to make an effort to find some movement in throughout the day.
Yeah. So, Dania, you're really kind of iconic as our NFT, because the whole world kind of, just a decade ago, Saudi women, we would not hear about, Saudi women driving. So the fact that you're actually racing is really, I think, a symbol of how much things have changed in Saudi. Dani, are you there?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, how
here. I'm here.
things have changed in Saudi, and I mean, tell us what is happening right now in Saudi. I'm coming next week, and I'm so excited. I haven't been there. The last time I was there was maybe 5 years ago, when the day the abaya, where it was that you were not required to wear the abaya. So tell our audience and everyone about what does it mean to be a female in Saudi today.
Well, I'm excited for you that you're coming. It's really a great environment and an exciting atmosphere. There's so many opportunities coming up in all kinds of sectors, not just in sport. But it is actually a real privilege to be a Saudi woman today. You get a lot of focus in the media, which helps my personal career because of the sponsorship program that I try to sell to fund my season. So the motivation of any sponsorship program is to get exposure for their brand. So if you have this focal point, which is being a Saudi woman, especially in driving, anything to do with driving, it's actually very beneficial for my sponsors to have that kind of exposure. So it does make business quite, exciting for people. There's a lot of events going on. For example, this weekend there's Comic Con here in Saudi in Jeddah, which will be exciting, I think, for people who love that kind of thing. We've got, like you're coming over for FII, the investment initiative. We've got film festivals now throughout the year. We've got sporting occasions, Formula One. That's huge, right? That's like the top of the standard in motorsport terms. So there is a lot happening. It's very exciting. It's a lot of fun, and people are excited. They have all this pent up energy and all this creativity that they now have ways of expressing. People can produce. They can engage. They can interact. They can socialize, and that's a very natural thing for human beings. So when the opportunities arose, people just went to work. It's very action packed, and it's really nice to see people do what they want to do naturally, and they have a lot of ways to support their expression, whether that's in music or art or sport or industry. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot
Wow.
going on for
So
everybody.
excited. I'm so excited to hear that. So let me ask you a question. What if you could work on one dream project? Like, what would that be? Like, if you had to pick, dream tall, wide, what would be a dream project that you would love to work on? Let's say if it's a government or a company or someone that acquired your NFT and you're like, let's go for it and work on this dream project together. What would that be?
Well, to be honest, I've been so focused on getting my season up and running. So I've really concentrated on getting my races funded and having that whole setup. And now it's looking like I could be okay for the next couple of years. And then now that'll give me space or time to think of other things. But to be completely honest with you, I just haven't had the moment to reflect on what kind of project I would work on. So far, I've just been working on getting my season together.
Okay, well, listen, that's actually very, very focused dream project. Getting my season together and being able to race over the next couple of years and having the right
But
party.
it's an individual project, it's very much focused around the driver. So it would be nice to kind of think of something to do that would benefit the collective and people outside of my own self as a driver. So that would hopefully be the next step once I've established my footing.
Yeah, but you know what? You are a role model to many young women, Dania, and many women in the Arab world. So even though your individual focus and doing well actually inspires so many others to leapfrog ahead or follow your path in some way, right?
I mean, I hope so. I don't know. I hope what I do benefits others.
Absolutely. I can tell you, absolutely. I was like, oh my goodness, I have to meet her. Absolutely. I feel that way. And what about, tell us about something exciting happening in your sector, like in that whole motocross racing sector. Is there anything particular that you're excited about that's happening in the sector right now?
Yeah, I mean, we have World Cup races in Saudi. We have the Dakar Rally, which is here. It's a 2 week race around Saudi Arabia, 9,000 kilometers being crossed, and that hosts something like 400 plus drivers and bikers. That's really a spectacular event, and Saudi's hosting it for the next few years. So I look forward to doing that in January. It also draws a lot of people from abroad to come. The teams, the support, the engineers, everybody comes and gets to see a lot of Saudi because it's 9,000 kilometers around the country. So that's really a wonderful event, and I'm happy to be part of it as the years go on. Um, that's if I had to concentrate on cross country, that would probably be the biggest thing going on here for us.
Ah, perfect. And let me ask you, what was Dania the 8-year-old like?
I liked school. I liked learning and studying. I was very close with my cousins. I liked to play outside. I liked using buggies and quad bikes in the desert and the sand. I loved the outdoors. Horseback riding was a huge part of my upbringing, and yeah, pretty much that would sum it up, I would say.
And would the 8-year-old hang out at the adult version?
I think the 8-year-old is pretty much running the show, it seems. If I'm in a car most of the time.
I love that. I love that. You kept that 8-year-old. You're actually allowing the 8-year-old inside of you, which very few people do, Dania. So kudos to you to live out
Thank you.
your dreams out loud. I love that. I actually love that. And what about the 80-year-old version of you? What do you think the 80-year-old version of you would be most proud of right now?
Um, I live with my grandmother who's in her 80s, and she has this amazing way of seeing the good in everything, seeing the lesson in everything. And I think whatever 80-year-old version of myself would exist, would be happy with the fact that I try to reflect on anything that happens and try to understand the lesson from it. So that's all we can do, really. And I think people in their 80s really understand that anything that occurs has a purpose, has a reason, and if you're wise enough to find it, you could probably leapfrog ahead through some other difficult obstacles. So
Well,
hopefully that's what she's looking at and saying good job.
and what about your 80-year-old grandmother? I think that's awesome that you're living with your grandmother. What do you think if I were to ask her, what is she most proud of you so far? What do you think she'd say?
Oh, I honestly don't know. You'd have to ask her. I don't want to. I don't want to answer on
What do you
anyone's
think if you
behalf.
had to take a hint? If you had to take a hint, what it is if she's like my granddaughter Dania? You
I don't
you
know. I don't know.
you
I
don't
don't know.
know.
No, I
Okay,
don't know.
we're gonna have to get her next time on here, and she's gonna have to tell us. And what about the thing you admire most about her, your grandmother?
um, Her faith. She really
Mhm,
believes that everything is perfect and everything is designed in the best way for everybody. And even if it looks like an obstacle for her personal world or view or lens, she understands that things happen for a reason and they're beyond her and bigger than her. So her faith and her trust in the natural order of things and events beyond her own control.
mhm.
She trusts that things happen for the best. So I think an amazing quality to go through life with.
Mm. And do you, when you go to these races, just interesting, Danya, is there a different feeling when you win and lose? Talk to us about that.
Um,
Or do you ever
It's
really
not so
lose?
much about the result, actually.
Yeah.
It's usually about the drive. So a lot of things happen when I drive, and the result is a byproduct of not just my performance, but many variables of the race. So sometimes, let's say for Dakar Rally, I was eighth out of 48, and I was unbelievably happy with that result. And then some other races, I was first out of I don't know how many, but I wouldn't feel the same fulfillment or satisfaction because it depends on how I drove. Did I drove to my absolute maximum capacity? Did I reach my fullest potential as a driver? What did I how did I perform? What decisions did I make that could have been better? So the result really doesn't dictate that feeling, the fulfillment of the race. It's not really about the number. It's more the performance itself.
I love that. You know what? I often say to my team that $1 can feel way better than $1 million if you
Yeah,
know that you earned that and you earned it by doing all the right things versus the $1 million and you got it the wrong way.
exactly.
That's such a beautiful thing, particularly in competitive sports. We think of sports and we think of competition. How beautiful, Dania. Like, hold on, like what wisdom. Hold on, grandma is rubbing off on you, Dania. Like
I
big
hope
time.
so.
Big
I
time,
hope
big
so.
time. So Dania, let's talk about you're the buyer of this NFT. Uh Ideally, who would be your perfect buyer and what would you like to explore with a buyer? Just, think tall and wide. Let's say it's who would you want it to be? And maybe what are some of the things you would love to do with a buyer in terms of this NFT?
I'd love to share knowledge or experience of what I've gained from these races. So some kind of way to impart that experience. It's a lot to go through the desert with that much kilometers, and some people would be intimidated maybe of entering that space. And if I could just give them access to what that looks like, and maybe the emotions I've felt or the decisions I've had to make on that terrain, and if I could just share that with others somehow, whether it's through I've always talked about tokenizing maybe the footage and the images and all those kinds of things. I've talked about maybe tokenizing an event or a story and the outcomes and learnings and KPIs of that particular situation. And it's a bit like I'm trying to bring all of the events or experiences that have happened on the road out to somebody who might be thinking of getting into it somehow, so that when they are in that space they feel more equipped, maybe, or also even encourages them to enter that space to begin with. Some people just see it from the outside and it seems so inaccessible. Like these people who drive are just people from a different planet and they have this a whole other universe. And the reality is, no, it's very accessible. I'm you and you're me. We can do what the other person does. There's no barrier there. So if there was a way to use NFT in a way to dissolve those boundaries, I think that might be really helpful.
I love that. So hold on. Technically, if I buy this NFT and I'm like, I really want to drive with Jania, is that possible?
We could do something like taxi rides and test days, yeah, for sure. Outside of events, I would have to organize it with some kind of team and find a
Yeah,
car and do all of those arrangements. But that could be part of the conversation for sure. It could
absolutely.
just be a simple, Q&A. Could just be a
Yeah.
story tell. Could just be footage and images and things from that race. It could be anything that brings them closer to the sport.
I love that. I love that. So, Dania, on that note, I want to say I'm so proud that you are
Thank you.
like our Saudi flag in all ways, our women flag, our Saudi flag, our racing breaking boundary flag. I'm super, super proud. And you came into our world thanks to our, lovely GLEAC mentor, another racer, Farah, who's on here. I see commenting, who is another female breaking boundaries in the space. So, Dania, thank you wholeheartedly. I cannot wait to see what you're going to do. And for anyone looking, Dania is actually, the one to watch, guys. We'll be watching you, Dania. Thank you for joining
Thank you
us.
so much for your time. Really had a great
Take
time with
care.
you. Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye.
Bye.